But you see, when you've got your woman, that's your woman. This is the woman that's going to have your children, right? You're not going to have 10 other women that's got their children and birthday. They go, oh, that's my brother. Or when you go, oh, that's my brother.
Yeah,
guys.
But you may have a culture where that works.
I was just going to
I
say
say it's the irresponsibility of human beings to not be able to organise themselves.
So that's not smart.
Because
it's not smart. It's
we're not
having
smart.
More choices.
We're not smart. And that's why my book's called The Stupidity of Human Beings. I think I decided that. I don't buy everything. Sorry, one second.
No, it's right.
Sorry.
I think it was important for me to actually aspect, like basically put into perspective that we're talking about post-contraception. There's a big difference. If you're talking about pre-contraception, yes, all of those talking points do have gravity because there should be kind of like priority. It's not. Absolutely. That's the thing. You see a lot more fundamental values in those cultures as a result of them not having the ability to contraception. You see a lot less women who are sexually liberated. Whereas if you go to cultures for contraception, you have women who are a little bit more comfortable to talk about their actual sexuality and how they enjoy it as a leisure activity. See, the problem is when we talk about sexuality as if it's just what's the word? An activity for reproduction. We're completely lying and we're completely going against the whole point of it. Just in the sense that a man, if you ask the man, right?
Well,
give me 2 seconds. I'll give you an example.
I would say it's a stupidity.
How often does
not
a man
knowing what?
find
Sorry,
himself
go on.
I was going to say, how often do you find a man?
Only mate for one purpose. Not a lot of evidence, but I think there is some evidence.
I don't think that's
some
true.
Animals that do exactly.
Yeah, we don't know that. That's us using our standards for them, or putting ourselves up way of a higher standard than they are.
I'll give you another
That's our
example
arrogance,
as well.
in other words. You know what I'm
There's
saying?
animals,
We don't know,
there's
do we?
animals that have been
Yeah, we
found
don't know.
to have- There's been animals that have been found to have homosexual sex.
Yes.
You would not be able to. You're right.
Yes.
You'd not be able to conceive.
And I think dolphins have sex for non-reproduction. They're the only ones, apparently, who have sex other than just for reproduction.
That's all
That we are aware of so far, yeah. And they're supposed to be intelligent. So,
when we're talking about sexuality in particular, especially when after a woman is pregnant, right, and she for some reason has all these hormones who's telling her I need to hump a little bit more or whatever, right? A woman can't get pregnant after she has conceived. That egg gives out chemicals that basically kills out the sperms and stops any other eggs from being fertilized. So why is a woman much more enticed to have sexuality when she's pregnant if it's all about conception?
for real though. And then you got the clitoris. Which is also a reason why I think men are jealous and why women are way more powerful. Not way more, but I think they've got the edge. You guys have got the edge. Don't let man tell you we're even the same. You guys have got the edge. You can give birth. You've got the capacity to have way more sex and pleasure than men. You can outdo us, but we run things, so we make you seem like you can't do this and can't do
Women
that.
can just exist. That's how powerful their sexuality is.
We run up and down and do all these things to impress you and make you happy.
Another thing as well. Is that the ability.
Biological. So
What's
from
the
a
point?
biological perspective,
I was going to say, what's
your
the point?
body's made for
What's
them.
another thing?
Touched about sexuality though.
I was going to say, what's the point of a female orgasm? What is the point of it? The functional point of it. What is the point of female
And
orgasm?
why is it bigger than the
A man
male?
ejaculates because he needs to shoot sperm. What does a woman need to shoot?
Oh no, there is a similar what's it called, motivation in terms of lubrication.
Okay, yes, of course.
But why is her orgasm so intense?
Absolutely.
Comparative to the men's.
Numerous.
And they can have how many the world record, I'm gonna fling this in there. The world record is 900 and something sexual partners that a woman can have in one day. Yeah? For men, yeah, that's
you don't want to know about. That's like that's something else.
it's a technicality. But the opposite side.
Let's not bring down the tone.
Let's try to get some structure.
Yeah.
I think what
I
you're
like
trying to
my
say
spanners,
is
I'm flinging
you
my
wanted to
spanners.
liberate women, right?
No, I'm trying to say that basically when we talk about certain freedoms that men have that women don't have, we still have quite.
Might I add to this?
Yeah, go on.
Sometimes we have to. Right now, you're talking from a patriarch standpoint of men oppressing women sexually, right? But one thing you always ask is you have to ask women what they want, and you tend to find that if you collectively get women in a room, their desires are different from men's desires. So and that's important. So when you're trying to give women this sexual freedom, they might go, you know what, I'd rather something else than that. If you're going to give me a certain freedom, give me higher pay, or give me the ability to make my own money, or so I don't know what it is, right? So these are things usually from a man's perspective of what men desire. I go, if I desire, they desire. But most women that I've spoken to, that isn't. Yes, they want to have intimacy, but it is nowhere near at the level level of how men think.
I can agree with that. I can
In terms
agree
of
with
a lot of women like traditional lifestyle or the traditional woman's role. A lot of women don't want.
No, I'm saying that it's like right now, what you're saying is some women might be sexually oppressed. And I'm saying you want to grant a woman a wish. But I'm saying when you grant them that wish, they might not wish for freedom to have sex with 100 men. They might just say, mate, I just want the ability to not to be relying on my husband.
The problem is, if they want to, they should have that freedom in the first place.
True.
Now, what I'm trying to say to you in particular, when we're talking about women in particular, and you just said you went to a room and you did a survey of women and they answered a certain way. I love this because there's a study, right? And it's a brilliant study. It's a brilliant study. So they got a group of men, heterosexual, a group of gay men, and a group of women, and they exposed them to 3 pieces of material: heterosexual porn, homosexual porn, and animal porn. I don't know why. Studies. So they asked, basically, they put probes on the people and they found out which one of them basically was stimulated by which content, right? They found out men, for the most part, were stimulated by heterosexual.
Okay.
They found out homosexual men were stimulated by homosexual content.
Okay.
Right? So now, I'm going to tell you what women found attractive. But they then asked them to self-report what they found attractive, so themselves. They asked the men said the heterosexual stuff. It correlates with their thing. They asked the homosexual men said homosexuality, correlated with their findings. The women,
Can I guess?
said, finish it for me, the women said,
I'm going out on a weird one.
yeah,
Sabo, beast or homosexuality, but they said hetero. They said hetero.
The women-
I don't know which one they want to go.
the women said they were not, unanimously said they were not turned on by anything.
Okay.
When we look back to their biological findings, you find they were turned on by everything.
So their responses was for all of the 3 types of porn.
Absolutely.
But they were saying it was none of them.
Yeah.
Because they went with this thing of it's all about your emotion.
Absolutely.
It's not about the physical
this is the
thing.
thing. But this is the thing. Us as a society,
they always try to say.
we've taught women that expressing their sexuality is a no-go. But deep down inside, they're feeling something completely different.
Okay.
So when we talk about women and we're talking about what women want, it's very important to establish what women want.
real,
but
though.
we have to also acknowledge the fact that we've created this circumstance and this
For
social
real, though.
norm where they don't feel free to express
real,
that.
though.
And this can be seen in
Yes.
scientific studies.
That's bang on. What are women's real attitudes and what are men's real attitudes? We're not given an environment. Everything's designed to where we're not allowed to grow as individuals.
Absolutely.
What does a woman really think like? We don't know because we give them those and we engineer their behavior from day dot. Same with dudes. We give them the action men or we're talking about you must put your hands up and fight. We design the circumstances so I don't think we even know what men and women are supposed to even be. And that's another subject covered in the book, by the way.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sister's going to interject.
Extensive book.
Yeah, it is an extensive one. But because I'm a person that's very indecisive, yeah, so I can feel this way 1 minute, but I feel something else the next minute.
Yeah.
So I can't make a decision based on how I'm feeling.
Of course.
I try to make decisions based on what is right and what is wrong, how I feel, depending on the circumstance. Yeah, I feel that yes, men are more liberal than women. They
Liberated.
can do liberated.
I wouldn't say
than men
liberal,
and
I'd say
women.
liberated.
But is that something that I don't think I'm really interested in that because he can do more than what I can do. That does not bother me.
That's absolutely true. But
Can I say something? You're right, absolutely right. But we came from a woman,
Yeah.
so that itself,
In itself.
it can say, look, I've created. You understand? I gave.
Sometimes you can't change the law of things, you know. I think that's what people don't understand.
no, but you have to be able to give someone the freedom
And I
because if they
wouldn't want my
are,
daughter to be liberated and be sleeping around. I don't want my son to.
But the question is-
But my daughter, I'll be very upset with her because she has to be like, when a man is in, they enter us, they come into us. That's into my body. I don't go into you. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a bit more personal. Yeah? It's like, all right, having menstruation. Men don't get that. Yeah, but we do. So we have to be extra cleansed, more better, more
pure.
Yeah, more than a man.
No.
I understand what you're saying.
The sister's telling you her experience. She's telling you
absolutely,
how
absolutely,
women think.
That's how we.
So,
That's how
and if that's what, if that's how they think, we can't
But not all people think like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, because one of the biggest things that, even though men are liberated in terms of sexuality, the kind of like, what's the word? The kind of social outlook on men's sexuality. If you look on TV nowadays, anywhere you go, it's a negative aspect nowadays.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's because women do have the platform to speak about it. And because they project a lot of their experiences onto men and say this is how men feel. This is one of the biggest problems. Men project a lot of what they feel onto women and say this must be how they feel. And women do the exact same and say that this is how men must feel. Now when we're talking about in particular this whole sexuality thing, men's sexuality is not seen, even though I say it's liberated, it's not seen as a positive thing. Like I said, I gave the example earlier about how someone is pure until a man goes inside them. And then when a man goes inside them, they're not pure anymore. That's saying that a man is inherently corrupt and saying that he is a corrupter and everything within the sexual realm. He is an actor and she is an
I
object.
think
But the
that's
problem
for
is,
some people because, right, if I was single and I met a guy
Yeah.
and he's sleeping with there, then that's not a potential husband for me. That's not someone that I can bring home and say, Mom, this is my mister. There's a difference. Women know that. Women know that. Maybe because she's more enticed to the...
and that works both ways, doesn't it?
I
If
think
a man
so.
finds one,
I
and what I'm
think
saying is, for me, I get the whole sexual liberation and so forth, but I'm still about nation building, community building.
Yeah, no, it's more of a side talk.
No, it's a good thing. No, but I'm saying, but how it ties in. So
That's what's
how it
contaminating.
how it ties in is right now, it's done on checks, so you have men impregnating many women, and then there is no structure. So before we can liberate ourselves sexually, we have to understand how to show restraint and control.
Absolutely. But the thing is, I would say in particular with you were saying, I think you reminded me about your previous point just now. You were talking about, oh, if a man so and so sleeps with their partner. Now, for me personally, it's one of those things where we can prove that even for sort of biological reason as to why you wouldn't want someone who is sleeping around, because that person hasn't shown. Sorry, you can go if you want. That person hasn't shown.
It's
That
a
person
big
hasn't
debate.
shown almost a credibility
Big conversation.
of whether or not he is faithful. Meaning that you don't know whether or not he's going to stick around for your baby. That's why you're a little bit less enticed by someone who's sleeping around. However, what that doesn't take into account is the fact that you can get to know him as an individual. You can you can further kind of develop on the psychologies of both of you. And then that might entice him to be like, you know what? I'm done with my days of sleeping around. If you don't give him that chance, you're never going to know.
I understand that. 'Cause
And it's
from
the same
my
with a woman as
personal-
well.
I thought that I was gonna just pick someone, I'm gonna have my children, and this is that, and I can do it by myself, right? But
What do you mean by yourself? You mean without a husband?
yeah, I thought I was gonna that's what I was gonna be like how I grew up with my mum. Because you got a lot of us. I'm not saying some of my friends had mum and dad, but then dad was messing around the field. It wasn't the way
And this is where I want the conversation to go, because I feel that we collectively have a grand re-education, right? And the fact that our women are from default thinking that I'm going to have children, but I don't expect there to be a man there. This, for me, is a contributing factor.
That's how it was for me.
And that's how it's for many women, if not still today, right? It's still going on. But I'm saying this is the problem of why, this is a contributing problem of why black people collectively in that area is suffering, because of the responsibility of the male and female.
Not just the women, the whole structure.
Of course. So before we get to sexual liberation and one woman having 100 partners, I want a man and a woman to bond and make an oath to each other that they're going to look to stay with each other through thickness and thin and so forth.
But
Right?
this is, I was gonna say, this is
The problem with what he's saying is that it's a hard issue because the whole of the society is against you. So it's like,
That's another thing.
but then again, why are we looking at society? No, but we live in society. Yeah, we live in society, but at the end of the day, we brought up to the system. If you know that you're pure and your mum's pure, that is it. Now you have to grow up the little ones to get that knowledge. It's all about passing that knowledge to the little ones. So if we don't educate the little ones now, they're going to listen to this.
I come from, say, a single parent home. I was already, like, I had my aunts and uncle, everyone was looking after me. So I was all right with that. But when I had met my mister and say, like, we decided we was going to have a child, and I realised that's when I saw a different kind of life, and I understood about marriage. giving
what I'm saying.
yourself to
So you
someone.
don't have this
You're
understanding.
not, when you sleep with someone, you give them a part of yourself,
Yeah,
a
you're-
part of your soul,
yeah.
you know. And many people don't understand how sacred that is.
Absolutely.
And that's why people have many partners, because they are searching for that, say, you know, the higher of that feeling. And they don't understand that you get that through years of sharing and understanding one another and building each other and being
through
able
something,
to,
Now, you hit a very important issue that I'm trying to raise black people collectively, and that is before you have any kind of intimacy, that I would recommend a building before that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
and knowing
can
each
give you
other.
that,
Yeah,
I can give you that.
building. So it's like the person you're with values your well-being. What does that mean? That means that if you have a child, that man is fearful that if I leave this woman alone, she's going to struggle. And I appreciate her so much, I can't even bear for her to struggle. That's even before you
It's
recognize
not
that's my
even
child.
struggling, it's about him, your child, understanding that they have two parents,
Yes.
and these two parents are here to protect me.
And that makes sense. But with absence of taking one parent out of that, you're always going to get a form of
It
struggle.
goes like
But
this,
there's a
because
problem.
you need
Guys,
the balance. If
can
you
I-
only
of
got
course.
one, it will go
Guys,
round.
This is why I really would like to have this talk on a deeper level, just in the sense that we're talking about sexuality and we're talking about just the act of sex itself. I think what you pointed out is a really good point in the sense that you said that you need to build a bond with people before you actually initiate any intimacy. Now, for me personally, I think the only commodity that you actually have in a relationship is not your body, it's not your finance, it's time. Because it's time that you spend with your wife, it's time that you spend with your children, etc. Right? Now, when we talk about this, we have fathers in particular who don't really want to be at home. They've had their kids, they've had their wives, they'll go to the pub with their friends, and then they'll come home, drink a few beers, and then they'll go to sleep. Why do we never class that as spiritual and emotional infidelity, but we always concentrate on the sexuality? That's
No,
my
you're
thing.
right. But the problem is that kids are not planned. That the problem is kids normally come about through the free life of just like people sexually having relationships. So and I think for most part women are doing their parts because mothers. I think most of us were raised by single mothers. So mothers are generally doing their part, even if they didn't plan to have a child. When they do get pregnant, generally mothers, they take their sacrifice and they raise their kid and just like that. Whereas the father can just easily just escape, and they ignore her. But the problem is that what happens is that maybe through clubbing or maybe through just, you know what I'm saying, the
But I
relationship.
think if he didn't have that emotional connection, if he had that emotional connection, he wouldn't just get up and leave. He would make sure, oh, does my kid have Weetabix in the morning? Oh, school shoes. Oh, even, I don't know, anything.
But most of the time, you're not in a relationship anyway. Because what is that things are so, I don't want to say secular, but things are so just like
Fundamental.
sex free now.
Okay.
Yeah, like guys just go out clubbing, meet a girl, and the girl meets a guy. They go to a hotel where they have sex. Like, and even if the other person has a part, it's not really a biggie anymore. It's just like because of
this is as
everything is so
as
YOLO
role
and
models,
lust and.
I just want to point out that this has been this has been
where
going
we
on.
need to. Sorry, bro.
Don't go.
This is where knowledge needs to come in. We need to educate them.
Absolutely.
And on and on. Because at the end of the day, whatever we do, there's going to be temptation. Yeah.
I hear
We
that, but
have
this
to-
is where I understand where you're coming in now, right? To explain to youth that what options that we do have in life and the things that the choices that we make and the best choices for us and what the gains out of and the benefits and stuff. Because if you don't, you get diseases. It creates even probably new diseases. I don't know, you know.
I understand, yeah.
But then
I
it
don't know.
create the one most important thing. It creates another life.
That's the most important thing.
That is this.
That's the most
You know,
important.
this is the most important. And with that life, you need to be a man. And if you
Own
don't
up
get
to
along
the
with the
kids.
woman, you need to
Absolutely,
be there for the
absolutely.
kids and provide for those
Absolutely.
kids.
Even if
Absolutely.
it does happen, what is the procedures that you can take? See, being 16 and having a baby, what do you do from that?
It's kinda
Don't
hard.
mean it's the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world,
You know, in fact, not going to college is not the end of the world.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Nothing's the end of the world, but you need to. You bring that child, you bring that life. You need to do the same
But you know what
thing.
the problem is?
Do you mind
They
if-
don't
I just
have
wanted
to
to
choose.
comment on what you said earlier in terms of how it's become very liberal nowadays, and I absolutely agree. It's got to the point where people are dressing up in furry costumes now and deciding that they have sexual freedom, and that's not sexual liberty, but that is that example of how the liberty has gone a bit too far. Now, the only thing that I would say is that men have had this liberal freedom for eons, and we've had men who have had concubines, who have had separate children, etc. But now we seem to only have a problem when women have the freedom. Now we need to be fair. That's what I'm trying to say. We need to be fair. If we're going to treat women with scrutiny, we have to treat ourselves with the equal.
But I believe they're doing most of the job. Women generally are doing their part of the bargain.
Absolutely.
Even though you guys know I'm a Muslim, I don't believe in sex outside of marriage. When women get pregnant, generally they do raise their kids. The problem is we need fathers to educate the young kids. It's like a vicious circle. We need fathers to educate the kids.
Lack of character.
To tell them,
lack of character.
yeah, to tell them what a woman is and what her worth is, and all this stuff. Treat a woman like your mother and your sisters. But the problem is that we don't have the fathers to teach a job. And I don't mean to be rude, but women are not even portrayed to us in society as human beings. I'm being honest with you. All these women like Cardi B and
They're
Nicki Minaj,
replaceable. That's
you're
the
just
message,
seen it. You're just promoted as like body parts to us. And I think if you keep on promoting like Nicki Minaj's and Beyonce's and this, that, and the other to the people, at some stage, they do just see you as objects. And
then that
this
is all about the system, isn't it?
And
then you've got some,
they still have a
We need
conscience.
to break out.
You've got some,
We take our children out.
They still have a conscience.
artists
I'm not
talking
giving
about their
them.
mothers,
I'm not
talking about this.
In
But
a
they don't
really-
want to. They keep it away. They don't want to hear that and put their big ass on the screen and the champagne. I think, this is the life.
Absolutely.
But this is just fantasy.
Yeah, but I'm going to be honest.
We
I
literally
don't
need to
see
create
that for
new
guys
societies.
Like
That would be good. That would be nice.
I was born here. I'm
No,
from
this
Congo.
This is the only way
My
around
mom's from
it.
Jamaica. My
You have
dad's
your youth,
from
you have
Haiti.
your children,
But my father
and
was
you
an
bring them
Iranian.
into this society.
Let's just say,
They're
let's just
seeing
take
everything.
Muslim. Let's just take my friends. Yeah, I'm going to say my friends. I've got lots of friends. I've got white friends, Muslim friends, whatever friends. Yeah?
Good stuff.
I noticed that my black culture, we don't have nothing that will make us help us to go forward. You see, like other my Muslim friends, they got like, all right, their dad's shop is on the corner. You see, they're going to get married, whether it's arranged or not. Now, these days, they don't arrange it like that.
But then you got black Muslims.
Let her finish.
No, but wait, but even still,
Yeah,
they
fine.
have structure. We don't have any structure. What structure do we have?
This
But
is
then we have
how.
to be-
This is
You
why
see,
you need to
everyone
build that
comes to
structure,
this
sister.
country, all ethnic groups, they come to this country, they never plan, they don't plan on staying. They got business to do and they do their thing. But you see, when my people came, we're still
Making me
here.
uncomfortable. Don't do
And
that.
we haven't. Yeah, we haven't.
But you
moved.
guys
We haven't-
know this, yeah? You
we
guys
haven't-
know.
Yeah, we have. All right, we know this.
No, what I mean is that you're gonna no. What I didn't mean to say we know what you're saying. I'm saying I'm sure you all know. I don't want to preach to you.
Yeah.
Raven's most gonna roll his eyes because he knows this already. We're taken from Africa where we had structures and families and this, that, and the other. We're brought into Jamaica and our families were purposely broken up. Men were made to breed, and they put the biggest men like to breed with the
Right.
the sexual
we had choices.
Yeah.
We got choices.
No.
When my granddad came here, when my grandma and granddad came here, we was not living like scum.
But this
you
was
know.
a
We had
different
a
country.
house, bruv.
This was a
Not
different-
how
no.
I live in a council
Yes.
estate, you know.
Yeah, I know.
We had a
house.
house.
But
My granddad had a trade.
Yeah.
My son don't have a trade right now.
But you know the
Do
problem
you
with this
understand what I'm
country.
saying? So we don't have no
Yeah,
It was,
but
it was a lot
but you know
easier to
the-
have a trade back then,
Yeah.
however. Nowadays, because of the Industrial Revolution, more jobs that had trades are being replaced by machinery, and nowadays it's a
I
lot more to
understand.
do with things.
But you always
it
need
was
a
a lot.
husband.
I know, I understand, but it was a lot. It was a lot easier to have a trade. Nowadays, when our youth aren't even being accepted into university establishments because of the colour of their skin,
I hear
it makes it
that.
a lot harder. So that's why I say it may have been easier back then when they needed people to build up the country, but nowadays
But they
it's
need-
probably a little
they
bit
need
more harder to
people to
have a
build the
trade.
country
How
again.
about the
It's just a
music
different
industry then? Who
stage.
controls that?
The music industry.
Guys, I gotta go. But I
That's
just
the
wanted to
Now,
add a quick
that
point.
came from the blacks,
Music, you
innit?
see, that's another thing.
No, but they're making it, but they're not controlling
Yeah,
it.
sure,
why
sure.
can't-
And they don't decide what is on the track.
'Cause it's
moving.
locked down.
So if they
Yeah.
want, if they got a tune and they like that tune and they're thinking, you know what, that's going to be the one I'm releasing first. They take the bigger heads, sit on their desk, right, and they deliberate and they decide.
This one
the
needs
song
to be
that's gonna
worked
come
about.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
so it's
You
not-
This
they're
is
not
where
worried
this
about
is
that.
where.
To be fair though,
Listen,
you
this
could
is-
argue
this
that
is
they
where
see
it
their
is.
benefit a
Do you
lot,
understand?
or they prioritize their benefit before they prioritize the
This is
benefit
the
of their
trade.
people.
This is the business.
That's the question.
But
I
look,
don't
this-
necessarily
needs to be
agree,
controlled.
but I'm just saying in
But it's a
particular,
big
I would never
system.
put out a
Do you
negative
understand?
message knowing that people are going to die because of it.
Well, no.
But
Many
some
things.
people might.
Many things.
And I don't
I'm not
necessarily
just saying
think.
you-
Let's-
But
And
you,
I don't.
that's
I don't.
to
It's a mixture.
intent. That's probably maybe not every person.
It's not the intent,
People
of
that
course.
are making these songs. They're not trying to go out there. Well,
Of course.
I'm not assuming that everyone
Of
that's trying
course,
to
I
rap is
agree,
rubbish.
I agree.
They're just telling their story, and realistically, that's where hip hop
I
is.
agree.
I think they're doing a bit more than
agree,
telling a
I
story
agree.
though, because a lot of people say that music is a reflection of society, and they say like, I think the first person to say this was Cameron. He says, "I'm just a reporter. I just report what I see." But there's also bragging on it, talking about like, "I'll kill you like nothing." Like a reporter is
that's in
hold on,
reality,
hold on,
though.
hold on. But a reporter is neutral. He says, "This is going on in my society,"
Absolutely,
and so forth.
absolutely.
These people are bragging about how easy it is for me to kill me. My crew's better than yours. But my point I would say is, this country was a lot back in them days was a lot more moral. People were a bit more religious. The family structure was more together and so forth. Yeah, and working these things were easy to get. Like he was saying that after the Second World War, they invited people to come over to do certain jobs and so forth. But slowly, society has got secular and more away from God and so forth. Even they say now, the thing they're pushing out to the kids is this godless, like this godless,
Self of
there's
God.
no next
Yeah.
life kind of society. YOLO, you only live once. So what happens is that, what I see is that when you keep on preaching to young boys, yeah, YOLO, you only live once. They don't think, oh, I only live once, let me take care of the environment and this and that.
But don't you think,
Absolutely.
I'm not blaming society like that. So I'm not going to let you talk. I don't blame
I'll
society
catch you
like
in a
that.
bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm a mum.
Please, if you
And
can,
society
leave
is
the-
helping.
the
But I have my
for
sisters,
your
I have my
platform,
mister,
because
I
I'd really love
have, we
to-
give,
I'll come
we
give- I'll
tell
give
our
you
kids
the-
what they're like to do, you know.
the-
We let our kids play computer
Nice to meet
until,
you.
as
See you
you do,
later.
my darling, to whatever time, or this game, that music, whatever. We have the control. I'm the mum. I'm in charge. So if I'm allowing my child to do so, then you have to expect repercussions that maybe he ain't gonna listen to you at certain point. One thing God gave us, you know, why I know my God is good, yeah? Choice.
Free will.
Yeah, and free will. So therefore, it's for me to give my child all the things that he needs, all the tools necessary to be able to pick the right decision, best for him.
Oh, wait,
Best for him.
please, let her
What
finish.
is
Hold
it?
on, please. We're having a conversation. Go on, carry on. Carry on, hold on.
No,
No,
that's
let
what I'm saying.
carry on, because I want to spot.
Listen, the system, yes, we live in a system, but you don't have to go with the grain all the time.
Right,
Can I say something?
before you jump there, so let's to keep it back on track, right? Let's understand fundamental pillars. Yeah, the fundamental pillars that we want to train our children is to love your family, your community, and respect your wife. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. Learn a trade, learn a skill. If you understand these fundamental pillars, you will see progression.
I think
Hands down.
number one though, before everything you just mentioned, learn to love yourself.
Of course.
And then you'll be able to understand your wife.
No, of course.
Where we
Can I
are
just
right now.
respond?
Your
Very
wife
true.
and then your family, and then because if you love yourself, then you can be able to be more passionate and more understanding to other people that are not like you, and you can agree to disagree. If you're not so sure of yourself, then you have none of those tools.
So there has to be a step-by-step structure for how to achieve these things. So in the courting process, I'm advising women, before you have sex with any kind of man, yeah, you ask them the question, how does my life improve after knowing you? And then you make sure, yeah.
It's true.
I'm telling you, if the man doesn't have the answer, you can come back next week with the answer. Yeah? Once you have the answer, you have an area to judge him by. And before you become any kind of innocent any time, he has to show you that he has a certain kind of care. And time has to go by to make him connect to you that way. Right? If you do have children, yeah, you want in an early stage to give them skills, to take interest in their learning process, and also take interest in their community betterment. Meaning that you might do good, let's see if you can do good for your community as well. If we have this in play, you will see a night and day change.
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so.
You see what you said about the you say that as your mother and it's your job to teach the children. I'm sure you agree that. I agree that single mothers are privileged. Like I was raised by a single mother, and I'm sure a lot of black boys were, yeah. And their mothers did everything. They were the father and the mother. They did the caring, the loving, and so forth, and working, yeah. 2 jobs, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes 3 jobs, yeah. But I'm sure you agree if you have a loving mother and a loving father, that's a better situation, yeah. So, but the way society is, because that from an early age now, because we've got iPhones and all this kind of stuff, that kids don't even get the chance to go. Like from when they got a smartphone, they got access to the world, and they see everything. They got Instagram, they see sex like 24/7. So it's like we haven't even. It's too much. Flies.
Black next time.
Yeah. So basically, what they're coming to a society. Normally, in a single parent mother family, the mother's always out working. Anyway, so when she does come, she's either fixing things or work, and she's tired and yeah. Can I just
So sorry.
can I just finish?
One
Can I
more
just-
time. But do you think it's not just people that have single parents that have a problem? You've got you man that have a mum and a dad, and they got. Do you know how worse that is when you have a mum and a dad, and then you still broken?
Can I
that hurts.
Can I get that to after? So what I'm trying to say is that the mother is there, but she might not be there emotionally there or mentally there. So they're growing up, and they're growing up like the actors and the rappers are like stepdads to kids. Like they have a one-way relation through their phones and stuff like that. At least kids, once a kid has a phone, they've got access to adult sites, everything, even what you just see on Instagram. How girls see themselves on Instagram, how guys see themselves in videos. No, I'm not saying. I'm saying society. I'm saying to you that the fact is that most kids have a stronger relationship with actors, rappers, and social media than their parents. And most of the time, the mother is just working overtime, just trying to main things, like bonding time and all that stuff's not always there. So then they have just sexual relationships, whether it's at the late times of secondary school or college or this, that, or just raving and so forth. So they get pregnant. The mother's bringing it up, and that's what I'm trying to say to you. It's just this whole lack of society, not just music videos, movies and everything. It's just it's a lack of parenting. But the society, look, a man
will always be here.
That's true, but what I'm just saying to you, it is a lack of parenting. But look, a man can legally, from the age he knows how to have sex, 16 or 17, sleep with as much girls as possible, get them pregnant, and until he's old and he can't do it anymore, 70 or 60 or whatever, just keep on doing it, and legally there's no consequence for it.
There's always
Like-
Legally, but
No,
There's
I
always a
mean,
consequence.
there's no. Look, first you get encouraged society by doing it. Your role models have bare girls and everything. I'm going to close now and so forth. And that's what I'm saying. What he was talking about is true. Because in Islam, we don't have girlfriends, yeah? It's like this in Christianity. There's fornication or marriage. But it's a bit lax in this country, yeah? But the thing with Islam, it's kind of serious in Islam. Because what it is that, like, before you get married, yeah, like, first of all, we don't have the dating thing. So if you saw a Muslim woman and obviously she's wearing the hijab, so not just checking for her body, you might say you ask her for her father's number. What would happen is you would meet the father and the brothers, everything, and they know you.
I'm gonna be honest. It
No,
don't work like that.
no, I'm gonna.
I'm gonna say it don't work like
I'm
that.
finishing. No, it don't work like that all the
It
time.
don't
But
work like
generally, when we're trying to get married, like you got certain Muslims that go raving and stuff. But I'm talking about generally practicing Muslims. So you'll meet the family and the brothers and this that. So people know who you are. The family, they know who you are. And then you'll have a meeting like with the sister and so forth. And you'll have meetings. You won't be alone, or you won't go cinema on your own. Or you'll be in a place. It's just you two, but there's people around. And you'll have questions and you'll decide if you want to get married. Yeah? So there's no like sleeping with someone and then dusting and this, that, and the other, so forth. People know who you are. And this is the union, I think, kind of like the union's talking about, because yeah, you can get divorced. But the thing is what I'm trying to say to you. But the thing I'm trying to say to
If
you,
you're married, no, but I'm saying that if you're married, if you're gonna take, if this is what.
no, it is a life
No,
thing.
but if you don't think of it
But
like
listen,
partly,
this-
though,
the point
if you're
is-
doing it that way, there might be
understand
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you get divorced. I'm not saying you get no.
The point
Excuse
is,
me.
we are trying to educate the youth
Not
today.
divorce for little
What is-
things like. Oh, she's.
What's the consequences of sleeping with her? Like what Raven said, you need to know what is he going to bring to you on the table. Is he going to be there for, is he?
Are
is
you
he gonna-
financially secure? Can you provide for our kids? Do you have a place for us
Is he
to
going to be
stay?
there? Is he going to take your kids to school? Is he the man for you, or is he just like a one night thing?
But then I think that's
that-
where it comes to what
Am I
Yeah,
putting
that's what he's
words-
talking
am I
about.
putting-
Union.
of man and woman.
Raven, am I putting words in your mouth? Or,
Afford for me, like have a place for me to stay. Can we afford a place for us to stay? That's the difference of being equal to man and woman. There was that
I think what we have to look at is we have to look at certain biological realities. So when the male and the female are progressing through their career, if they so choose to have children, that's going to be a disadvantage of the woman to progress in their career, because you have to take 9 months out, not 9 months, you have to take
yeah.
a considerable amount. And we know that it's hard to progress in that area. And also, many women, when they have children, sometimes they decide not to go back to work for whatever reason. Right? Well, there you go. So what I'm saying is, in that standpoint, you want the man to try to be career-minded so he can support you in that process. In that process. But yeah, I mean, if you live in London, you ain't buying a house on your own.
No one is. No one is.
Saying that.
And you know what the kind of thing is? That this feminist news, I'm not talking about real feminism. Now they're kind of anti-family. And what is that they've made like being a mother bum. Like if you say you're in some circles, if you say I'm a homemaker or I'm a mother, like you're frowned upon, like you're not an independent woman or this, that, the other. When in reality, if you don't have good mothers, then the society's just gonna mash up anyway. But they've made, I don't know, it's the feminists. And because this world is a capitalist world, it wants both people out working and it doesn't give a damn about family, yeah? They've made it look like being a mother is a bum. Like if you say you're stay-at-home mum and this, that, and the other, it's like cringeworthy. It's like, so you don't really do nothing, you just raise kids and so forth. And I think that's a problem as well. So a lot of women now, they see like being motherhood as like yucky. Like, oh come on man, I wanna, you know.
The only person you can control in this world is yourself, right? And that's why I say as a female, when you find a partner, you want to answer those questions. How does my life change after meeting you? And then the answer they give you, you make sure you're seeing that reality before you do anything that has a long-lasting effect.
Temptations, isn't it?
Yeah? You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing I can say, literally,
This
right?
is another, it's temptations. When Brother Hussein was talking about phones, but back then there was no phones. There was still temptations then. Kids were still going wild, still doing their thing.
Either way, what I'm saying is, we have to have a step-by-step process for betterment. And you've identified that in some communities, there is a wayward fatherhood behavior, right? So we have to have a strategy, and I'm pushing forward that I want to empower women to make that first step. When I have the one-to-one with men, I'm going to try to make them righteous, but when I'm talking to women, I'm going to say, you should only pick a certain type of man. If you only pick a certain type of man, you will force men to be there. Yeah? It's almost like, you know when they do clubs and they say women in for free, and then all of a sudden there's men there. Yeah? So wherever there's women, you're going to find men. Yeah?
It's never the other way around.
Yeah, yeah. So what I'm saying is, men are always going to try to seek you out, so you have to understand the value of what you have. Once you understand that value, you have to make men try to earn that. Yeah? And that's very important. But in the meanwhile, we have to have codes that we live by. You know what I mean? So we have to pick a woman by certain standards. So if a woman is behaving a certain way, then we shouldn't be with them. We should fear being intimate with them, because I cannot impregnate a woman who isn't mentally stable, because she's gonna transfer that to my seed. You see? So it is a partnership, but I am much more harsher on men because I am a man, and I know how men think, and I can only give you advice to keep you away from uncompromised men. I can only give you advice. And I've got a list, and when you pick a man, I should be able to go through the list, and if he doesn't tick that, I'm like, cast him away. Cast him away. You know what I mean? Cast him away. I agree. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you need like righteous brothers and uncles who are going to, like the brothers are saying, they're going to vet people, isn't it? It's like, because if they truly love you, they don't want you with a guy who's going to give you heartache. Yeah? And heartache, we can actually define heartache, meaning when you most need them, they're not there. The reason why you have women who desperately try to destroy men is because when they need them the most, they weren't there. And when they need them most is when they're raising their child and they've got nothing and they need that guidance and that help, and the man's making other children. You see?
And when the father knows, when the guy, before he's had relationships with the girl and this, that, and the other and so forth, meets the father and the brothers, he's gonna act with her different, because a lot of women, they fall like for sweet talk and for some reason in a black society and stuff, for some reason when the guy's like a square and he goes to university and he does everything right and he's like suited and stuff, like he's like the girls are, I know I'm a bit old school, but they say let me bops in, yeah? Or let me, like you know what I'm saying? You know how it's totally true. No, the youngers don't know. The youngers don't know that much.
It's totally true.
I know. I can say that with Raven and the guys. They let me bops in, and when the guy's a drug dealer with the Land Rover, and he's like a junction boy or 28 in them days, or something. Like I don't know. The girls were attracted to him. So all the guys that were doing good and going uni and stuff like that, it's like he's a dork. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use him. I'm going to have this rude boy, drug dealer boy, who's glamorous and got a name and all the girls want to be with him. And this uni bod and doing all this, working in Tesco's and says he's doing overtime, 3 jobs. I'm gonna use him, even though he take me restaurant and stuff and he shares what little money. I'm gonna use him.
I think that's just like women trying to say like I can do just what you do. So like because we've seen men do that.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, because that is what
It's what's shown. It's what's shown to them as what is alpha. So this is what they're shown is alpha.
You're right. You're right in that men do use. You're right. You're right, men.
Now women are at the stage where to be a feminist to a certain extent is to be that liberal woman.
The why?
You are allowed to do that.
The why I can't say why, because sometimes I think that I know they've been used and like they've been abused over and over again and heartbroken over and over and over and again, but this thing has to be taken out of the community, that the educated one and the one with a trade who earns money maybe shortly at the beginning or so forth, but sacrifices and stuff like that. Because to be honest, most plumbers and electricians make much more money than a lot of drug dealers and stuff. Plumbers are not.
I think what the brother's saying, listen,
Get the towels.
I think what the brother's saying is there's a certain
Myth.
type of men
Yeah.
where they might be more education led.
Yeah.
And he's saying that a lot of the most attractive women are not interested in them.
They are
and they're going
dorks.
for the men who are more like
Criminals.
Well, he's saying criminals, yeah. Now, I'm
Fucked
saying,
up, yeah, drug dealers.
now I'm not here to
Yeah,
stop.
yeah.
I'm not here to stop criminals from
Yeah.
having families. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, if you had a standard, then you wouldn't get a certain outcome.
Yeah, but then I feel that if they had a teacher, they would understand and know their standards.
Well, here's what it is. Let's make it sure. So I'm condemning criminals, so-called criminals. I'm saying that if you're in this system, if you're making money and you're against the government, and the government are trying to arrest you, then that's not a stable.
Exactly.
That's not a stable.
Exactly.
System, right?
Because
Yeah?
the reality is,
That's what I'm saying.
The reality is, most people selling drugs and stuff are not even stable anyway. They live in life by the day. And most drug dealers are not going to retire. They're not going to put the money into like a proper business.
When you're young and naive,
Yeah, but when you're young,
you don't think about that.
true.
Well, we have to change the thinking system,
That's what
don't
I'm
we?
saying. So that when
So
you're young,
But that's the perception.
We have to train people to think that intelligence is important. Yeah, and when you have that person come in and they're A-star
Exactly.
science, A-star maths, A-star history,
Exactly, yeah.
they
That's
need
the
to
cool
get
guy.
all the women fighting for them.
Exactly.
Once all the women fight for them, it will make the others who are failing
Yeah.
actually take time to learn. Because you know what? If they can, because men are led by women. So that's how you can change the system, by only going for the guys who are doing well. And you know the good thing, if you go for a well-driven man and you make sure you give them that question and they're with you, then you're going to have that stability when you got, because they have a system behind them, a way of being that can actually support you. While some of the people that you might choose, once they get nabbed, that system is broken, isn't it?
Exactly. And the thing is that a lot of young people, they can go in and out of jail because they live at their mum's house. So what happens is that when you're young, you can go in and out of probation, community service, jail as much time as you want. But there's going to come a stage where your mum or your parents die, and you have to create your own place for living. Now, if you have a flat, yes, or you have a mortgage, most people won't have a mortgage. But let's say you're renting somewhere. If you go into jail, if you go into jail, that messes up. When you come out of jail, now you're homeless. So what happens is you either have to work hard when you're young or when you're old. But if you choose not to do like when you're young and just go in and out of jail, probation and community service, when you reach 40 and 50, yeah, and so forth, and you ain't got no GCSEs, you ain't got no trade, you ain't got no degrees or this, whatever, you're going to be forced, yeah, back into Tesco's and Sainsbury's, and there's nothing wrong with working in places if it's your choice and you want to work there. But when you've got no choice and you're 40 or 50 and you have to go to work with 16 years, 18 years and so forth, yeah, that's when it's going to really hit you, because you're going to have to work to pay your rent.
Yeah,
So the whole thing is the one that is going to school, like is working at Tesco's and these places when young, or doing their trade, or studying at university and a bit broke and being the square or the dork, yeah? After those few years, whether it's 5 years or 6 years, or maybe even 10 years, that person comes out, is stable and affluent. And the criminal is always driving that Land Rover, looking out for feds, and yeah, your life is mashed up. So, but we need enough people to pass that on to
Yeah,
you.
so I'm not going to critique criminals and so forth here. That's not my thing. But what I'm going to say is, when you're picking a partner, there should be ticks. And how he makes you feel is a tick. And also, how is he going to support you is a tick. And that's what your father, brother, and sisters and mothers should ask. Well, what is he going to do as a career, or what is he going to do as a craft that can support your household? That's an important question. Yeah. So these are the advice I can give the sisters when they're trying to find a partner. Sweet nothings don't work anymore. You need to be able to detect it. Yeah? Well, sweet nothing, like I can come and, the thing is, some of our people have so low self-esteem that a man telling you nice stuff is enough for you to do this. And that's that, we have to up the bar now.
But you made a statement, you said some people come from affluent backgrounds, a mother and a father, yeah? And this is what I'm trying to say to you, is that some households, they have the mother and the father, they're physically there, but they're not emotionally there. So you'll have certain people that are there, they're in the house, but there's no conversation. And unfortunately, as men growing up in this society, because you could be growing up in a council estate where it's white people or whatever, yeah? We're told as men that we're not supposed to, if you show your feelings, you're not a man. So if you tell your child, I love you, or I care about you, or this, that, and the other, there's a problem. This is what I think is that. Because I think men are not showing love to their daughters, and the men in most families are not there. So what happens is that a young black girl growing up, or girl on a council estate, she doesn't hear I love you from a man, yeah, from her father, yes? And the father should be the one to give you your self-esteem, mate, tell you you're priceless, you're special, and no matter, even though society says you're supposed to be white, or you're supposed to have a thin nose, or you have to be a certain shape, or this, that, and the other, and you're crap. Because she never gets that in society, movies, videos, they're all telling you rubbish, you're rubbish, you're rubbish, you're rubbish, you're crap, you're crap, you're crap, you're crap. I think that when she goes to secondary school or college, the first guy that comes along and shows some type of affection and this, that, and the other, it's like something she's been missing all her life. And it's easy for her to get gassed and and sometimes, because that happens, even the guy has been taking liberties with her, because every once in a while he shows her affection, she haven't had any. So it seems like rational, to go along with it and so forth.
Yeah, but that's what I think is parenting. Because we don't know how to be parents. I mean, parenting is trial and error. I get that. Yeah. You know, but
There's been enough parents to know by now how to do it well.
Like Malcolm said, anyone can create a child, but any man can.
It takes a man to raise a child.
You know?
so I think it's a lot to do with parenting.
It is.
It has everything to do with it.
And that's why we have to get those structures in play, innit? You have the family structure and the community structure, you see what I'm saying? So as a collective, I'm trying to rebuild that now. So all the hardships you've gone through, the legacy of the pain that our people went through, is contributed a big part of why there's this organisation. So our role as a community is to be organised again. And it starts with the family building, right? And it starts with how you pick someone and the questions you ask, and then the support, and then like you mentioned with the whole father and the woman
Vetting process.
But
That's
fine.
Inevitably, then you have to get to a political level, so then you'll have
But before we get there, the brother said that ignoring children, right? Ignoring wives. One reason why you might get people ignoring each other is because there actually wasn't a genuine connect early on. What do I mean by this? Meaning that you came together because of lustful reasons.
Yes.
And I find you both attractive because when you went to the club that night,
Yeah.
you tried your very best to look seductive, and so did the man, and it worked, right?
But there's no substance.
But
Yes.
attention doesn't equal respect.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, that's why when you're actually in the vetting process, having mutual interests. So it might be that you're a cook and she's a cook. It might be you like video games, she likes video games. It might be you're both joggers. But it's something where you're so into it that you can have these conversations when you're home. Yeah? And when you raise your children, historically, many children will take on the craft of the mother or father. Because they're doing it, they learn it's like, and they get into it. So what I'm saying is, that is a part of it. So making sure there's a mutual interest. So I know it's hard to find a partner, but well, trust me, once you find the right one, you'll be doing
The nightclub is not the place to find a baby father.
No.
A husband, future husband.
That's right.
We're dorks, we don't. We're dorks, Muslims, we don't go clubbing, but alhamdulillah, man. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, the sisters, they're also they're responsible, ain't it? They're responsible how you put yourself in. That's why I believe Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and all these Steph Dons and all these, these are the worst enemies to women.
I like them, but you know, I'm an adult. I waited long to
You listen to them.
I
That's why
don't-
you
well,
know
I-
about them.
well, I don't listen to them. I don't.
I'm not trying
But I
to
listen.
be
Do you know what I do?
funny.
I listen to black podcasts. Like I listen to certain things, so I still in tune with certain what's going on.
Shyla,
Like the main ones are still the ones from old kind of Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, and this, that, and the other, and so forth.
Yeah, but part of the family raising process is to let them know that there's going to be things outside this household that's going to be highly
Of course, of course,
But
of course.
here's the structure I give you.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So I'm going to tell you, I don't recommend you dance on stage with no clothes on, but you will see a man or woman do that.
You're going to see lots
But
of
you also
stuff,
tell them the reasons why you don't feel it's necessary for them to do that.
No, but why do you feel the need to not have much clothes on? And it goes
Because
back
if you
to
can only present
feeling-
yourself as society as
I suppose, yeah, it's society, and it's about, like I said, loving yourself. If you loved yourself more, you wouldn't have to have so much makeup on. You wouldn't have to have your weaves different every day. You know, if you wanted to get a weave,
that's the thing when
many
you go
people
on-
can't afford it. But if you notice, their rent ain't paid, but they can afford that. So if you get your priorities in order, then you're able to like the Cardi B's if you're
Now, here's the issue, right? Let me just jump in, because with male-female relationships, sometimes you might have a woman with a man, and just say the woman's spending a whole lot of money on looking different each week. And the question is, even though she wants to look nice for herself, really, the only person the woman should be trying to impress sexually is the husband, and vice versa. So if your husband or your wife says, I appreciate as you are, you don't need to spend £100 a week, or whatever it might be, then there should be a value in that conversation. I'm not saying women shouldn't take pride in their parents, but the goal is you're trying to please yourself first, but you are with someone, so you're not trying to fish for a new person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, but what happens with society when you're always trying to fit in for acceptance? So
Yeah, of
it
course.
might not necessarily be for a reason, for the reason of looking a certain way for other men,
I hear that.
but just to fit in with your other, with your peers.
And that's why I try to give black people collectively a progressional plan. And what I mean by this is, when you look at all the millionaires in the world, they don't wear any of that,
Yeah.
because they're so occupied with
Jobs.
actually achieving something
Exactly.
that they don't need to pretend they're achieving something
Exactly.
by dressing up.
like Bill
See?
Gates and Steve Jobs.
But
they
they
don't-
still have, I believe, even to a degree, they still have a certain pressure to not with regards to say Gucci or things like that, but
Their
just
house,
to,
the way they
yeah,
manage.
well, whatever, to be the same as or to fit in as somebody else whose club they go to, who's got money just
I
like
don't
them.
think
You
Steve
know
Jobs
what
and
I'm
them guys care about other people because they've got so much
so what
money.
I'm saying is, literally.
So you don't think somebody like Trump cares about what his peers
No,
think
like
about?
Steve Jobs, if you see him, because he's rich already, and because he's the innovator of most of the things we use, I don't think he gives a damn about society. He wears the same black t-shirt all the time, and
Yeah, but
he's not
those kind of
Gucci and
people,
plain.
It's about those kind of people.
They might be a bit arrogant and
About
think everyone
everything
follows
again.
me anyway.
Yes.
It's about being comfortable with, all right, your son is an introvert and he doesn't go out much. And
That's
he does
cool.
golfing and he does all this, and you might think he's a bit weird or whatever, but he found a tool able to express himself and maybe make money out of it, and that's how they become big. That's why they wear the same black t-shirt all the time, because they're not trying to impress people.
But he's
They
talking.
understand the game.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was talking about women. I think he was talking from the point of view a lot of black women do like put like Brazilian weave on and all this kind of stuff.
I'm talking about men and women when it comes to, like I said,
Anyone,
you know, trying to get
impress-
self-esteem
trying to
through spending money they
External.
don't have, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying the solution from that is having a purpose, right? And a progressional purpose, right? And I'm trying to give you examples of people who are they're successful in so many areas of activity that they're not
Well,
aware of the activity of trying to appear big, because they are. Do you know what I mean? They don't need to fake the funk.
They don't have low self-esteem.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, our goal is to build the self-esteem. Yeah, and how we do that is by giving yourself a purpose and progressing. Do you know what I mean?
And I think the problem with the women in society, most of them, they confuse that attention with respect. Like a lot of women think if they walk down the street half naked and they get attention, that means that men respect them. No, like Instagram, you may like take pictures in your underwear and lingerie, and you get lots of likes, yeah. But it doesn't mean that men respect you. Like prostitutes get attention, strippers get attention, but men don't respect them. No one wants to marry a stripper or a prostitute. So yes, turning man to their head down the street, you'll get that. But after, if man has relationships with you, he might use you for most probably for a few sexual expense and then dump you and move on to the next thing. Because the only thing we is always a shape, and that's what men are just seeing. Shape.
What I think we're getting to is people come to you in that spirit. Meaning, the first time I saw you, it was a sexual lust experience. It wasn't an intellectual or a hobby-based stuff. So that's the spirit I moved towards you with. And this is the dangers you're trying to warn people.
That's why the hijab, they just block everything out. You can just see the
Oh, you're
face.
killing me with this hijab. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not expecting you to wear hijab.
No,
I'm
no.
saying to you.
No,
I'm saying to you. I'm saying to you. When a Muslim, I when a
No,
like
my
for,
mister, a lot of his friends, he works with a lot of Muslims, so we have to go to a lot of Muslim weddings and stuff. But don't get me wrong.
No,
you
I
think
know
that
about the
eyes
weddings.
Are not inviting,
No,
my
listen.
friend. You can't see her, but you look at her eyes, it's very sexual,
Okay.
seductive.
Right, what I'm trying to say to you,
wanna talk
what
to
I'm
her.
trying to say to you-
She can't be recovered from
And
it.
is that for,
And
is that the woman
Hold
or
on,
the
hold
man?
on. Listen, what I'm trying to say to you. The point I'm trying to say to you. What I'm trying to say to you. When a Muslim man sees a woman wearing a hijab, and the only thing he can see is her face, yes, this, that, and the other. He's not approaching because he was like bam, 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 bam. So the whole thing is like, if anything, she's pretty. That's why I'm approaching her. But some men are literally looking at women as objects because they're like Cardi B and all these women are just providing some rubbish, and they don't even look at her face. I'm not lying. They're not even looking at her face. She's buff. Yeah. Like, so the whole thing is what I'm trying to.
So it's about your.
I'm not, look.
It's about you. No, I'm not.
I'm not expecting you to convert to
disrespecting
Islam.
you. No, because
I'm just
the
telling
thing
you
is,
how the-
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of Islam stuff, and I agree with quite a lot of Islam stuff,
Yeah.
which is quite a lot of it is similar to Rastafarian stuff, and a lot of it is quite similar to Christian stuff. What I feel about religion is politics. I don't deal with politics. I don't vote. I'm not interested.
Sister, I think what the brother's saying is Islam has a way of portraying modesty, and their way of portraying modesty
I don't
is
think it's modesty.
but that's fine.
You don't have to agree with it.
Yeah.
I'm
But,
saying I
on,
don't.
but the point I'm trying to say
Is
to
that
you.
dealing with modesty or is it dealing with lust?
No.
If she's got big
Well,
breasts,
they're trying to
Hold on,
through
hold
the
on, hold on.
hijab.
Take away the lust. Yeah.
and that's their,
Excuse
and
me.
that's in the Middle East. Oh, fam.
Excuse me.
But that's how the Islamic community deal with
what I'm trying to say to
minimizing
you.
lust.
Exactly. What I'm trying to say to you. Look,
That's their culture. Isn't it? So in that part of the world, for example, let me give you an example, right? Women of Islam, they're allowed to show their hands, right?
They have different opinions. What is it?
Yeah, but let's just say for majority,
There's two things. Either they show the face and the hands,
Right.
or they cover everything.
Thank you.
Do you know that men,
So for me, that even
what was sexy was
person's
touching
hand.
a woman like
Right.
this.
So-
That's
yeah.
sexy. Do you know what else is sexy?
Can I tell you as a Muslim?
And then
That's
Can I tell you as a
sexy,
Muslim?
you know.
No, see, you don't
You're always
understand.
gonna
See, for
find
example,
an
me.
appeal
Look, so for example, let me
because
explain to you.
you're supposed to
Can I
be
explain?
attracted
Can I
physically
explain?
to the opposite sex.
As
That's
a Muslim, can I explain? Okay, so for example, because we're so too used to a country, especially like Caribbean culture, everything's huggy and this, that, and the other. See, as a Muslim, I'm only entitled to touch my wife if I'm married, yeah, and my family members. I'm not entitled to touch women that I'm not married to or not family members. So what I'm trying to say to you, in Islam, like I've had a nice conversation with you. I'm allowed to shake Raven's hands after. I'm not to shake you.
can't shake mine.
Yes, because I'm not.
No, but you know,
Okay,
you know.
I'll
okay,
tell
do
you
you know?
why. I'll tell you why. Because of the intention. You see,
if
it's
you
because of
have
the
that
intention. When he
intention,
shakes,
though.
no, but you don't know.
But not everyone's
You don't
got
know.
that, babe. Not everyone's
No,
got that.
okay,
Okay,
but we can eradicate
And if you have
let
that
me give you an
intention,
example.
that
I know
means
Raven don't
you're
get
normal,
riches.
just like
Okay, let me,
us.
excuse me.
You
Okay,
get me?
do you know what is Islam? Most of the things in Islam, as we told you, is prevention is better than cure. So for example, say you might be in a workplace, yeah? You might be in a workplace and you started work with two guys at the same time. One, when he talks to you and this, that, and the other, he's very touchy with you. You don't have a problem with it. Another guy, no, what I'm trying to say,
No, what I'm saying
not
is-
you personally,
No.
metaphorical example.
Yeah.
There's a lady, yes, not you. There's a lady working at work in the office. One guy comes to her, they start at the same time, they're just friends, yeah? Like when he talks to her, he's touchy like that. Some people when they talk, their hands go to the other. One guy, she's okay with it. Another guy, she don't like it. But they're both guys and they're working in the workplace. Now, the whole thing is if she says to that guy, yeah, okay, don't mind, look. Now she says, don't touch me when you chat to me. And the other guys, it's a whole heap of problem. So what Islam says, listen, your family, your wife, you're cool with touching her. Your family members, you're cool with touching her. Other people's wives and family, just leave it alone. Prevention is better than cure. Now, you don't have to agree with that. All I'm just trying to say to you is that if a Muslim man at most sees a woman, yeah, and he's thinking about getting married, the most thing he's gonna obviously see when he first sees her is just her face. So he's gonna think that maybe she's pretty. He's not gonna see her body and shape of that. You can get proper hijabs where you don't see the shape and size of this and the other, and that's why he's gonna you're pretty. I'm saying we live in a society where women are no longer ever even looked as human beings. That because of not just music but films and this that and the other, you're portrayed to us as men, yes, as objects, yes, and that's why I don't believe men are responsible. I agree with you, and I'm not saying that.
I'm gonna ask a question.
I'm gonna finish.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
let me-
finish.
yeah, let me-
But what I'm
I'll
just
bring
saying,
Paul Bridge
I am
down.
not.
I've got a question.
I'm not saying men are not responsible, and these men have got the red light because women are dressing how they want to to breed up all these women and leave them one in Battersea, one in Stratton, one in. I'm not saying that, yes. So what I'm trying to say to you, so what I'm trying to
sounds like.
can I finish, please? Can I finish? Huh?
That's what it sounds like. Weak.
But men are weak.
No, men are weak. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you can be stronger, bro. If you're teaching your pitney them to be stronger,
Yeah.
you need to be stronger.
But the thing is, the thing is, women, know that they have power over men, yes? So if a woman, goes out with everything shining, they know men are weak and know men are lustful. Are you helping the situation or you are?
I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah?
If
She's
my son-
laughing.
I'm
She's
gonna
laughing.
teach my son-
You know what you're doing?
Jay,
If you see a woman walking
Huh?
down the
and you see
One
the
at a time,
girl
fam.
hang out and whatever, you're going to say, Juji, don't do that. Rasaya, that's not the type of chick you need to...
So can I ask a question?
That's not happening in
Let me jump
clubbing.
in.
That's not happening when you go clubbing.
Bro,
No,
bro.
but that's the obviously.
I'm
that's another issue
saying,
with the one that we're
I'm saying that you're all powerful. Do you think girls are going in there and
I hear what you're saying.
they're getting what they want?
I hear what you're saying.
Not you, girls. I'm gonna erupt.
Yeah, 'cause
But
I've got
but I'm gonna say, girls are going out dressed as sexual objects. Men are seeing them as sexual objects. Men are impregnating. When the girl sells, I'm pregnant at this time. Man is dropping
You
a
were
ball.
talking about touching.
And
You
so,
gone to- you-
no, but I'm just saying to you,
But that was the
you
call,
girls know what you're
touching.
doing. When you go out clubbing and you're showing all the bum and this, that, and the other and so forth.
Well, that's different from touching.
Yeah, that's different.
But this
I'm
question
saying
connects
there's
to
a
your question.
Society of
This
lust.
question. So if you're a man,
Yeah.
and you want to marry a woman with a certain type of shape, what do you do?
Okay, so when you go to meetings, you have meetings and you can talk in detail and so
So
forth.
you ask the wife to be, what shape are you? Like, how much do you
yeah,
weigh?
of course, of course.
How tall is your leg?
As much as you
What's
want.
your foot?
Yes, of course
I
you're
didn't know
allowed.
that.
Yeah, because now
So you would describe
Yes,
a shape
you
and
can
then
talk about
boom,
yeah.
tick a box like,
Yeah.
that's my shape.
Of course.
I didn't know this. This is
Yeah,
new
you
to me.
talk because obviously you're gonna get married. and we plan to marry to stay together for
Oh, yeah, I
life.
would hope so. So
we plan to stay
okay,
together.
that's the only thing that confuses
And that's
me.
what I'm saying. Look, I've been Muslim,
What
yeah.
I think is true.
Yeah.
I heard this guy, that guy, Ali, here, and he had an interview with someone, and I watched it.
Yeah.
And the lady wanted to shake his hand, and he didn't want to shake.
Yeah.
for the reason what my man said.
Yeah. And I understood. I get the reason.
This
But you
woman
see,
was trying
when
to
you're a
provoke.
business person, I'm a manager, and I do a lot of business. Yeah. So when I'm grateful, you know, thank
English
you,
culture,
Mum,
mate,
You know,
ain't it?
no, you know, I want to shake it. I'm going to show you. If I don't like you, it's a standoffish. Okay, bye. Go on,
But you have to
yeah?
respect somebody else.
But I'm trying, and I get it. But I'm only trying to shake your hand.
I understand
I'm not trying to date you. I'm not trying to fill you up.
I think he
I'm not
yeah,
trying
no,
to,
but even
I do work.
To be honest, as a woman,
I do work.
Oh, no, so let me ask, brother, let me
It's
ask.
non-Muslims,
Let
a
me
lot of
ask.
them.
Annoyed me.
The thing is, as a woman, you're going to think like a woman. You can't think as a man. And he says prevention is the best cure, right? And a lot of men, there's always strategies to get next to you, and that strategy might be to do a business with you
But
and
he
touch
might
your
not
hands.
ever see me again. But
But-
for him to say thank you to me and shake my
But a
hand.
woman
If he went
knows
like
you.
this, right? If he went, sorry, babes, if he went,
No, but I'm saying, yeah, of course.
that's it. You
But
know,
look, we-
it's
I'm
just
saying, if
We
a
don't
man-
like
if
the
a man
arguments.
shakes your
It's
hand,
simple.
yeah,
Look,
and you
look.
know the brother don't like you. Yeah, the handshake he gives you, you got that vibe. You can tell. So like you were saying with the situation before, you got a man at work and he's fine with you. You're
Yeah,
allowed
yeah.
to
And
touch
another
him.
man, you
And another
don't have
because
that kind of
you can
thing.
read the intention of that man. So when he touches you, it's cringy. You can see that he's doing.
No, but
it's
some-
more than
But
just a
people,
handshake
you have a
with him.
different vibe with the
And
people.
this is what
You might not
intuition
have.
picks up.
But what I'm saying is that you have a different vibe with people. Certain people, I come to this park. Certain people, the way I embrace them, like when I see respect. Raven, and they're totally different
That's the
people.
third time you come
I know
around.
they're totally different. So, Raven, when I see Raven, I see him, I hug him, this, that, and the other, so forth. There's other people that have been coming to the park for ages, yeah? I don't have that click and that bond with them, and so forth. So what I'm saying, Islam says that prevention is better than cure. To cut the arguments, your family and your wife, you can't go wrong with if you shake their hands and you touch them. And other people,
I get that. I get that concept. I'm not saying I agree or execute it.
But you're not Muslim, you
in
don't
my-
have to
yeah.
accept it.
no, it's not about
But
accepting.
if-
It's about because if you
I
want
think
me
I
to-
think it's a good idea.
Watch out, they're gonna attack.
I do think
No,
so.
if you want me to
do think
understand,
so.
You should look at it as a
you,
compliment.
And I'm getting it. Yeah,
You should
I
take it-
totally get it. But I feel like, imagine if I didn't know. Yeah,
Okay, take it.
and
You should take it as a compliment.
I went,
used to perceive as
and you did.
compliment.
I'll be
Look,
like,
you might find it. Look,
really?
For example,
No, but remember, you're female. You're not male.
okay, but if,
And that's a very important point.
I have like my brothers,
Yeah.
and then my mum was also a single parent.
Yeah.
However, I have like my mum's good friend.
Yes.
So her children, as far as I'm concerned, are my
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
So for me, like in
But if
Islam, that would still not be
no,
okay.
because
Like,
if
how
they,
does that
like for
work?
example, a lot of my family are not actually my biological family. They're family through tradition, or there was situations where someone became like almost a surrogate father and stuff, right? If that's a genuine statement, then they're family. That's, you know what I mean?
Is that how
Because
it is?
well, it depends. Are you going to marry? Are you going to marry that person you call brother? Are you going to marry them?
My brother, no, I wouldn't.
Well, there you go. So then it's family, isn't it?
there's certain women that I've had certain conversations with them, and I've been coming to part for many, many years, yeah? Like over 10 years. If I was to embrace them, the way I embrace respect, some of them be cool with it, but some of them be offended with it. But respect and other guys, like with Raven and Respect and Jedi and other people, I know there's not going to be no issue with it, because we just got that kind of thing. Now to step over to, like to do it to a woman, something, maybe 50-70% might be cool with it, but there might be one saying like why? Okay, we have long conversations and so forth, and we've
I
reasoned
think
about.
the prevention is cure is an amazing statement, and what I'm saying is, I think the reason why I'm not saying I'm trying to implement this concept, but I'm saying
He said men out there.
But here's what it is. My standpoint is I'm trying to fix the black community, right? And you're looking at in some black communities you have fatherless children, yeah. So I have to have a process of being that minimizes that to the lowest degree, right? So, and one of them is literally men and women should not be interacting in that way unless they intend to be together. And I'll go, it's from I'm not going to be going mad over handshaking, but once again, you don't know a man's intent. Yeah.
I think
And we do that in Islam as a whole. We don't have free mixing. Like I don't have female friends that I chill out with, and we don't we don't go clubbing and raving. Like we don't do that. Like I don't have female friends that I just hang out with and I just chill with. No, I'm not expecting a Muslim, but I'm just trying to say the reason
because I get it because you don't want your mister hanging out with her.
What's wrong with
I'm
it?
going
What's
to
wrong with
check.
it?
Let me tell you something. You don't want your
This
mister
is what-
going to check a friend. Oh, I'm going to check Sheila, let's
Yeah.
just say. And he's going to check Sheila. Why are you going to check Sheila for?
She's a friend.
But Sheila can come to our house. If Sheila's your friend,
But
Sheila's
if-
my friend.
That's the
No,
thing.
you see, Sheila's my friend.
Let me ask
He
you
can
a question.
he can stay over at his friend's house, his male
not
friend's
Sheila's
house. Why
Why
not?
are you going to stay at Sheila's
Sister,
house?
let me so let me give you two answers.
It's not a handshake.
Sister, let me
You're
give you-
agreeing with us Muslims. You're agreeing with us.
Let me give you.
You're agreeing with the Muslim thing.
Let me give you two answers. The Islamic answer, I can speak for him, is it's not going to happen, right? So you're happy, right? But from my standpoint, if your husband or boyfriend has a female friend and you don't know her, how much of a friend can she be?
She's not a friend if I don't know her.
Exactly.
That's
So,
how I
so the
feel.
type. That's like you said. You've got brothers from other mothers, and they actually are your brothers. The same if this female friend is like a best friend, that freaking thing, then you should be knowing her.
Yeah, then she can
So
come
if it's
to us.
if it's
We don't need to go to
and-
Sheila.
So if his
and
car
she
breaks
should-
down
she
over
should-
her
she
yard?
should be able to ring you directly and ask you, "Is your husband home? Is Jimmy home? Whatever, right?" And then you go, "Yeah, it's Sheila."
They could go restaurant
Sheila.
together. He's
Rather
just like
than
one of the
a
guys.
mystery woman who he disappears to for a week, comes back. Yeah. What's the thing? That's what I'm saying.
That's an Islamic
I don't
thing.
want to call. I don't want to call this extreme. But what I do know is, if we implement this system, not necessarily Islam, but
Call it what you want. It's Islamic.
Yeah. Well, it's literally just a common sense, really.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think now, serious question, do you think that if you implemented something like that, where do you think that leads male and female? Do you think it will start another kind of uproar that, because to me it's like not trusting yourself or not being sure of yourself or...
That's prevention. Look,
I understand prevention is better than cure.
Okay, why would
But then if you're never tested, bro...
No, we are tested. I live in I am tested. Look,
Listen, most men fall short.
men are weak.
Most men do fall short. And,
You
and
see-
what I'm
you
saying-
can say it, all men are dogs.
No, I'm
didn't
not
say that.
Women say that.
I didn't
Women.
say that.
Oh, come on, women. Women say that. Women say that. We're not her. Women, not you. Not you.
No.
Women don't.
Men are dogs just as much as women are dogs.
Women don't say
I
that.
just think that
Women don't say
myself that
men are
more
dogs as much
people
as
like myself
Just like
be
women.
able to believe in a love, but they don't understand what love
Can I be honest
is.
with you? I believe most women are good, yeah? I believe most women, when they have their first relationships, whether it's in secondary school or college, they generally fall in love with a guy and they give their all to the relationship. And then what they find out, unfortunately, this happens repeatedly. Hold on, can I explain how they perceive love? So what happens? She may be in secondary school the last few years. She meets a guy outside in college or older, a bit older than her. She they're talking and they're texting, and she's generally feeling and caring about him. Yeah, she's really feeling himself. Unfortunately, most times he's just a dog and she's just a number on her phone. But he's playing along with it. She finds out that he's got other girls and stuff like that. He doesn't even cover it up good. Her heart gets broken. So then what happens? It gets broken. She suffers, she tears, she cries with her friends. Then she goes out with another guy. They go out the other guy and she says, I'm going to raise what the other guy did. I'm not going to judge him. And she doesn't. He breaks her heart. And then it happens and again. And then after about 3 or 4 times or 5 times, she says, I'm not gonna have relationships. I'm just gonna have fun. You can't do that anyway because you can't just sleep with someone and forget it. But what I'm trying to say is that
you need to be working on yourself.
Okay, but the problem in
I believe you.
yes, but I'm saying is that's what I'm trying to say to you. Yeah, you're going into relationships. Women are having these because most of the time the brothers and the fathers don't know about this relationships. The girlfriend this relationship she's having. Yeah, you don't take your father home to see your boyfriend or this guy you
Sometimes
met.
there's no father or mother to
Yeah,
show, so
exactly.
I get it.
Exactly, but if the brothers knew, he would act correct because there could be some roadman.
That comes like that. Listen, I've been working on my love team for 17 years, bro, and I still ain't got it right. Do you understand?
Yeah, you guys
love
are-
is you have to put work in love.
Yeah, but she doesn't know all
When
this.
you
She's talking and conversating and all this stuff. This is love, and he he might take me for 2 pieces of chicken and chips and Nando's and this or whatever. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say to
there
you.
has to be a structure that defends you from that kind of pain.
Yeah, but the problem is that's what I'm saying. If the father and the brother's in a picture from the first relationship, he's gonna act right because if they hurt his little sister or break his little sister, someone might get licked down or whatever. Yeah, but the whole thing is that these women they're trying to do the right thing, but men for the most part are not trying to do the right thing. Their phone, they don't have girlfriends. Their phone is full of numbers.
Yeah,
Anything.
but no, not every man's like
Most
that.
men
There's
are
lots
your
of
man.
men- No.
Are you
I've
speaking
had
on our
lots-
behalf?
When I was growing up, a lot of my friends were male.
Yeah, but they don't speak
And then
around
when
you
I
like
was
how they
with
speak around the
Mr.,
boys.
A lot of his friends became my friends. So a lot of his family were my family. So I understand that the fact is, when they just want a decent chick and no games, and it's not necessarily just men. And women that mess around, men mess around too.
No.
So you have to understand.
So you're saying it's equal.
I think it's equal.
So
Like
what?
you said, women
so,
run things.
hold on, no.
Who said
Okay.
that? Someone
What's
said
equal?
that.
Sorry,
So-
what's equal?
The cheating ratio.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's not. With he look, he's
I'm
part of gang.
I think that
He's part of
when
gang.
women cheat, a lot of you men
No,
don't even know.
Hold on, you just agreed with me that women were faithful.
But what I'm saying,
You just agreed with me that
No,
words were
some women are
but what I'm saying is,
Are you saying-
let me jump in. It's the legacy of that behavioural pattern. So what we see, if we see 5 single baby mothers, it doesn't matter who was cheating how many times. We still have 5 single baby mothers.
Yeah, raising the
You know what I'm
kids.
saying?
Okay.
So the
And
legacy
then-
of
Do the
this
maths.
behaviour
Yeah, do the maths.
is worse off for the female than the male. And that's why we have to give.
lies with them.
Yeah.
And I don't believe
You know what
you're
I'm
saying that
That's what I'm
women
saying.
are.
It's almost like you're gambling, but the man's money isn't his money; it's your money. You know what I'm saying?
Are you
You're
saying
both gambling, but when the money's lost, it's actually all your money, and he's lost no money. Because that's how he's seen it when it comes to looking after the children.
Are you saying most girls? Are you saying most girls when they first have relationships
I'm
are
not saying
already?
most girls, no.
cheating?
But a lot of girls do, and especially if they.
Are you
come from-
disagreeing with me?
Especially if they come with, say they come from a mum and a dad married, yeah, and say like your mum and your dad, all they do is cheat on each other all day. What do you
that's
think the man's gonna do? The same thing. She's gonna think I've got a boyfriend, but I like this guy.
I don't think most schoolgirls,
I'm very-
I don't believe most schoolgirls when they have their first relationship.
Well, I'm
Hold
gonna
on.
tell you what he said to me. You're not a woman.
I think he's on my side. I don't believe. Well,
That's true.
I don't
She
believe.
can't tell you her perspective as a woman.
No, but I say to you, so you're saying that most girls, when their first relationships, they're not in love. They're playing.
No, it's not that they like the guy genuinely.
Yeah. Go on. Go on.
Yeah, they
What
like
value
the
does a woman, in your opinion, what value does a woman have to be with a man they don't desire? What value? Because with a man, as men, when their bodies are changing, they strongly desire sex, sexual interaction, right? Intimacy.
But desire and love is two different.
Yeah, of course. So I'm not talking about love at the moment, right? and it becomes like a drug to them. Just like taking drugs for that reason, intimacy becomes that kind of. I'm saying intimacy is a nice word, but
Yeah, I
lust.
know what you mean. Yeah.
Right. What are women driven by a similar thing?
I think women are driven by a man that it looked like, you know, if you see a guy, you're going to instantly be attracted to. Can he take care of you?
Okay, so already
As
you've
in
a different
physically, yeah.
different dynamics, haven't
Yeah.
you?
So
And
it's
that's what
like-
he's saying.
you like
You've
it-
identified different dynamics.
You said like girls would like that bad boy image. All them guys selling drugs, driving that car.
That's when
blah,
they're
blah,
older.
blah,
That's
blah,
when they're
blah.
older. 30s.
No. It starts from very young. It starts from very
because-
young. You get me? You see that image. You see that he makes money so he can look after you. Anything that you want, you can get from this guy. He entices you that way. So he takes you,
True, he uses
where do
this
you want to
material
go?
things.
And takes you blah, 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 blah. So you're instantly thinking, this is the thing. He can hold me down. Man, they want to chat shit. This guy going to deal with that guy. Blah, 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 blah. You see all of those things. That's what she likes. So when she talks about being in love, what are you in love with? Are you in love with this guy holding you down when you're ready to run away from home, from your mum? Yeah, because he can't come in, because you can't introduce him to your mum and dad, because you know that's a cut. You get me? So you know that this guy is wrong. You know that. But you choose to deal with that. Street cred, your friends, you know, oh, my man's better than your man. Yeah? Oh, my man bought me these 120. He bought me 2 120s today, if that's what they want to say these days. You know, like, it's the same thing for women,
I think that a lot. I believe, yeah, that a
It's
lot.
the same thing.
I believe.
That's what happened.
Trust me,
you
I
know?
don't believe there's as much men, yeah.
Because
In
you
the,
think...
no. Can I finish?
Yeah,
I'm not, because I don't see it. Like what I'm trying to say to you, I'm saying that women are better in this situation. I don't believe there's as much men in bed like crying, just that heartbroken, yeah, because they find that. So what I'm trying to say, man's like certain men are just like that's for them. They got bare girls on that default position. They just sit, they walk around, they have their phone.
Men and women have a different need.
Exactly.
In the interaction.
And I believe there's a lot of women with sincere heartbreak, sincere.
Victim of that if they don't understand that dynamic.
Yeah.
And what the brother's trying to do is trying to minimize the pain that the sisters go through. And he's got one structure, I've got a different structure.
But this structure is the same as us. You just don't call it Islam.
Yeah, I just don't call it Islam.
He just took the rules from
Like
Africa.
girls, no, like girls that will see another girl with, oh, I like that guy, and then that guy will try to chat to her, and that's your friend's guy. You will still chat to the guy. That's wicked. So women can have bad intentions,
Yes.
just like man can have bad intentions.
And they will get their man.
know, and
They will
I
get their man, but they will get used and dumped afterwards.
Sometimes
Yeah.
I feel that women can just be a little bit more vindictive and a little bit
That's
more
different.
Of course,
So
of
remember,
course.
because
you've answered yourself, right?
Yeah.
Your friend is trying to be with your husband.
Wow.
She's not trying to get the same thing. So the husband is seeking intimacy, right? Lust. The friend is not seeking lust. They're seeking something else. Something that you've described to them.
Material
that they want.
belongings.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's a different dynamic. So the man can actually achieve what he wants in a night, but your friend can't achieve what she wants
not
in a
in
night.
one night.
And that's why and that's why there's a different dynamic between
It's a
men
bad
and women.
deal.
Obviously, you might have women who think like men and men who think like women, as we see.
Exceptions.
But collectively, overall, that's the different dynamics, and he's trying to prevent that kind of pain to fall upon his sisters.
Female sexuality is being suppressed by
Well,
patriarchal.
well, this is what the brother here is saying,
he
right?
was-
It's like if you look at Tantra, they believe female sexuality is so much more powerful. than
No,
male
there's a
sexuality,
different type of
which is why
feminism
they
now,
separate
the evil one.
Nowadays.
There's a bad guy. Like, there's an evil kind of feminism
I agree with you.
nowadays.
And the
It's
brother
horrible,
was here
man.
half an hour ago, or an hour ago.
It's like just
he was saying exactly the
stab
same
man
thing.
up, man. It's like it's rubbish,
I've
man.
started studying Tantra.
But-
really
But we're trying to see the reality of the downfalls of intimacy, meaning that like single parent homes,
Yes.
women crying at night.
Yes.
So regardless of the enjoyment of intimacy between male and female,
Yeah.
we're talking about the negative aspect of that. Meaning, and the man's had his fun, he's gone, and the woman's pregnant.
And I hope it's getting
Yes,
easier
yeah.
for you because it's a big battle, man. Because it's everything. The music videos are gonna get more sexualized. The videos are gonna get more sexualized.
It's dopamine. It's this big dopamine hit there.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about? Lust. But you know what I'm saying? Like lust based, like now I'm just saying, even just being on Instagram, like Like it's crazy. Like you can use Instagram and social media to spread your business and this that, and the other, but just using it to try and spread your thing, the crap that you have to see sometimes.
So I'm gonna kick.
I'll wrap it up.
Yeah, but the most important thing I want to say to females and sisters is when you meet a person, ask him, how does my life change after knowing you? That's what Raven gives you. If you say that, yeah, you're halfway there.
Yeah.
And make sure you force it. Take it. How does my life? And if the man
take your heart down, buy a
go.
hijab.
Once the man stutters, you can go. Yeah, because he has a fallback.
Raven, isn't it?
Yeah, nice to meet my friend.
I've seen you like one of the most. You two are like the most positive people in this part.
Thank you very much.
nobody.
Thank you very much.
You're always trying to see the peace and make the peace.
That's the goal.
And trying to get things in.
Wait, what's your name, brother? Catch you.
Huh?
What's your name?
David.
David, good to meet you,
yeah,
David.
yeah.
You have many beautiful rules from Islam.
Yes, I plagiarised. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Teach one, build one.
I beg you stay. Good to meet you, Courtney. I beg you
Yeah.
stay the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Fine. Let me go get our content.
No problem. Cool.
Yeah, it was nice talking.
There's that speaking to you. There's that speaking to you. And I did disrespect you. Yeah?
You did,
Sometimes just to put out your hand.
No, because I know that you lot did take no offence from me and you haven't been disrespected. You know what I'm saying? And you lot should take it as a compliment that you lot are priceless and I'm not entitled to touch you unless you're my wife and my family members.
I get it, I know, I understand.
But I understand being a Caribbean, coming from a Caribbean family where everyone's
we're
huggy,
very touchy,
and so forth. Yeah, exactly, and so forth. But also in the Caribbean we have a problem as well.
So that leads on to, so like
No,
I said,
like, I remember now, it ain't been ages since I seen dancehall video, but man got camera up, woman's skirt and this, that, and that. Like, come on, you don't know, man. Come on, man. Like, this certain stuff now I see that, hey, like, come on, and some of these women are mothers. You know about dancehall like, videos, yeah? Come on.
I'm not, I think having a structure in
Mashed
your
up.
life is core.
Yeah.
Come off that. Get off of it. Look what you've done.
The police are coming, police.
You know? Yeah, I don't, it's just that sometimes.
No, I understand.
Imagine if I didn't understand how I would be feeling.
But look, even you lot are Jamaican kids. Like I say, like the dancehall videos, you find out it's only the women that, are you okay? It's only the women that have been exposed in it. Like you don't see up man's trousers and this, that, you know, trust me. Yeah, but see the man like ride on a woman, the next man coming, it's like now it's like, come on man, this is like a little bit rape. I know they're consenting, but it's like come on man, you know? You know, and that's why like in Muslim communities and stuff we have young people like in the late 19s, early 20s and this, that and the other and so forth. And they're married and they have 30-year marriage, 15-year marriage, 10-year marriage, so forth. Like me, I'm nobody special, you know? I've been married for like 11 years.
But that's still something though. I think that's still
In this society,
Yeah, and I wouldn't be married if I was a Muslim. Because I'd see it as a burden, bro. I'd see it as a, like, when you're taught YOLO.
you can't say that, you don't know.
No, what I'm trying to say is, most guys your age, they're not in a serious relationship. Huh? When I got married, I was 30. But what I'm just saying, most young guys are not going to get married because in this society, like I said, legally a man from the age he knows how to have sexual relations, 16, 17, whatever, he can have sex up until his body's old and he can't do it anymore. And there's no repercussion. His friends are going to big him up for it. Society's going to big him up for it. Legally, you can't get in trouble for it. And the thing is that he could breed up like 5 girls, 10 different girls, and just carry on raving and clubbing. And it's easy, when a woman gets pregnant, it's easy to say, yeah, that the woman should take precautions and but people make mistakes, yeah, and then it's the woman that's left to do it, and it's like, I don't know how single mothers like do it.
Hope you didn't make one in marrying the one you love, and the one you love don't love you.
Definitely.
That's the danger zone.
But that's what I'm trying to say is that I don't know how single mothers did it. My mum did it.
I am subscribed.
You can stop it, Leon, you know?
I didn't realise that was about you all the yeah. We did it today. Finally.
The hardest working man.
Trust me.
Content over everything. From your belly. Man say it straight. Man don't listen to BBC. Man don't listen to ITV. Listen.
I know why he's doing that.
You see? He's a dirty gaffer. Sorry, brother. Dirty gaffer.
Gaffer.
Gaffer.